Becker, and I'm here to talk to you tonight about kangaroos and rivers and jungles and kangaroos in jungles, kangaroos jumping over rivers, and you mainly riding kangaroos. So, before I start, I'd like to ask you all a question, all right? And I don't want you to tell me, all right? But I want to ask you, you're riding a kangaroo through a jungle, okay? Would you jump over a river? All right? So, with that being said, oh, well, I went backwards here. Anyway, so keep the question in mind. But with that being said, think about what kind of person are you, okay? Are you an adventurous person? Are you someone that goes out and does crazy things? Are you a very analytical person? Someone who's a thinker? Maybe an engineer? So now that you've heard this question, let me talk to you about your answers, okay? Even though I haven't heard them. So questions can be answers. Even if you don't have a decisive answer, a question is an answer. Of course, answers are answers. That's why they're answers, all right? Now, you may ask, why is a kangaroo in the jungle? Kangaroos are in the desert, all right? What are kangaroos doing in the jungle? Why would you jump over a river in the first place, you know? And why are you riding a kangaroo? What are you doing, you know? Thought they only did that in the White Castle stuff. So, where'd this question come from? Well, it came out of thin air. I conjured it up. I have a friend who hates pointless questions, so I came up with it just to bug him. But then I asked a bunch of other people, and they had some interesting things to say. So, some of the answers I've heard from this question, all right? Now, the first one I got was, no. No, I am not jumping over your stupid river on your stupid kangaroo. Then someone said, yes. Someone said, absolutely, I want to jump over the river on a kangaroo. All right? Other people have asked me questions when I ask them this question, like, how big is the kangaroo? How big is the river? You know, can I ride in the pouch like Joe Corey? Are there even kangaroos in the jungle? You know what? That's all up to you, all right? So some of the unique answers I've heard, because they're not all yes and no, and they're not all questions. One of my favorite answers is, no, I'm not going to jump over your river, but the kangaroo would. Well, that's good. I'm glad you think the kangaroo would. All right? One of my other unique answers, my friend was in basic training in the Army, so I wrote him a letter and I asked him this question. He got back to me after a little while saying, well, here in the Army we've learned something different about jumping kangaroos over rivers. And then he told me about how much he loved Oregon Trail. So he said, no, I don't think I'd jump over the river, but I would cock the kangaroo and float it across. Or otherwise, you know, I guess I'd pay to take a ferry, and me and the kangaroo could just kind of float across on the ferry, and that would be good. So he would have floated his kangaroo across the river. I also decided to start asking some of the faculty, because, you know, they're a lot older than most of my friends, and they probably have some really deep insights. So I asked Dr. Turner. He looked for a while, and I could tell he was imagining himself on the kangaroo, jumping over the river. And then he looked at me and he said, yes, yes, I would jump over the river. Oh, another one of the faculty straight up looked at me like I was crazy and said, I'm too much of an engineer to answer that question. And I walked away. Maybe I am a little bit crazy. So that was that. Then, of course, I asked Dr. Clements, all right? Now we know here's a good answer. So I asked him in lab with 30 minutes left. Dr. Clements broke the question down into its separate pieces, analyzed it, looked at every piece analytically to come up with the perfect answer to this question. I still haven't heard from Dr. Clements. Then, just before this, I got to ask our department chair, Dr. McCullough, because he knows more than all the rest of the faculty, right? He looked at me a little bit, walked through the hall, came to me and said, no. So I could tell it was proof by kangaroo. No jumping over rivers. My own answer? Well, you know, I know my own question. But yeah, I'd jump over the river just so I could jump back and do it again. All right? I'm going to jump over that river all day. So, what does it all mean? All right? What does yes mean? Well, I've come to find that yes means you're a pretty adventurous person, and you're also probably a pretty bizarre person. You know, you're riding kangaroos through jungles. Way to go. All right? And maybe you're really good at jumping over things. What does no mean? You know, maybe you're a more realistic person. You know, you're not just going to go hop on a kangaroo. Maybe you're really analytic. You're going to look at it a minute, not do it. Or maybe you're just a bad jumper. That's okay too. All right? So, aside from that, what does a question mean? Well, question means that you're very curious about this whole question. And why are there kangaroos in the jungle in the first place? Well, that's good. It's good to be inquisitive. We're all here because we're inquisitive, right? And you're probably an engineer. Most engineers have answered with a question. Or maybe you just never tried jumping, okay? So to recap, I want you to ask yourself again, now that you've heard all this, all right? If you were riding a kangaroo through the jungle, would you jump over a river? All right? And that's not would you box a kangaroo, because that's obviously a bad idea. So, thank you.